Happy New Year, Pat. First recording of 2021. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, my friend. How are you, my friend?
We got some freaking beef to squash is what's up.
Well, which one? I feel like we have a lot at the moment.
Housekeeping. We have some housekeeping. One might say, if you want to say it like that.
One could if they so wanted to say it like that. I'm out of practice, Pat. I'm rusty.
I was going to say, I thought you were doing a bit. I think the thing that went viral earlier this week about the guy that joking about how podcasters take 20 minutes to say nothing at all. The thing about that is...
And it's important, and it's good that we're having conversations. But the way I feel for me...
Exactly. The kind of the major news, I guess, heading into this week's very exciting Bowling for Soup Girl, All the Bad Guys Want episode is... The people have spoken. I think it's official that you all seem to want a follow-up episode to the 2005 draft we did a couple weeks ago. You guys you called for the 64 team March Madness tournament. Doesn't have to happen in March. Doesn't have to involve teams or basketball even. But I hopped into MS Paint, doing the good work here over at the Reminiscent Podcast, and took some of your submissions, some of the stuff we talked about on the show. It's up on Twitter now if you want to go find it, fill it out. We'll probably talk about your submissions. Honestly, The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars is getting more love than I thought. But 2005 was, by any measure, an insane year for the music we talk about on the show. I don't know, Tom. I guess, at this point, we kind of have to do the follow-up episode, but we'll have to figure out a way to keep it interesting, maybe zip through the rounds a little bit. But things could get heated. I tried to rank them, kind of. There's definitely a number one and a number two seed in every bracket. But I don't know. Sometimes you get some Cinderella stories, and it's a beautiful thing. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? That's basically been our week on Twitter since.
What could we possibly do a follow-up on? Just other songs? Why are they not happy with what we gave them? We worked
I think they want to know
hard.
who wins. I think they want to know who wins.
Like the
madness,
bracket is the episode.
The bracket.
The bracket's
yes,
coming
the
from inside the house.
Episode. Yeah.
Okay, well gosh, we knew that coming into high school, the stakes were going to be higher. It was going to be more difficult. I expected anything but more fun to come of these years. I'm glad that, I know Chris gave us a little bit of slack for not having Based on a True Story, anything from that album on there. I know people were I couldn't believe this was in the honorable mentions. We'll sweep those comments to the side. I'd be happy to do a bracket, although I think it's only going to make people more angry when you're putting songs against songs. But
yeah, we'll have to kind of zip through full send. You're not just gonna. It's got to be a full if we do this end. So we'll definitely think about it. And also, you are mad about real quick. We're gonna do the episode in 30 seconds. I think I'm looking at the timer, which doesn't exist. I keep posting memes to make people think you're joking about the Beatles thing, and you want to come on here and clear the air on the air. You got 10 seconds before we start the show. You got to hurry, though.
I legitimately fucking hate the Beatles.
All right, let's start the show.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. No one will ever believe me, Pat, but you know what? Whatever. Let's just, Bowling for Soup. There's a band I do love.
Nice segue. Let's get into it.
So, I don't know if this was you.
Oh, yeah, real quick. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
What's up to the Reminiscents, Reminephews, and drumroll, Remineurologists? Yeah.
Our listeners are highly educated.
That's right. If you mess it up once, never again. Nice try. Going back to Reminecties, it's easier to say. Okay. We actually were running out of these. We don't even have to play that game too much longer if we don't want to. So, Bowling for Soup.
I don't remember. Was this a tweet or was it something you said where it's like, are you bowling in an exchange for soup or are you bowling on behalf of soup?
We retweeted somebody, but it is the existential question of our time. Let's answer it now. I think that's a great memory. Good job out of you. as the podcasters like to say. Do they like to say that? I don't know. I would like to say they're bowling to acquire Soup.
Okay.
As opposed to defending Soup's honor. Because I don't know if Soup's honor needs defending, especially during the winter months. Got a nice stew, get a little crock pot vibe going. I think Soup's doing just fine. I think they just want it. I think they want it bad.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on that.
Okay, settled. Next. Sorry.
Okay. What's next? That's half of our notes right there.
The lead singer, no, not true. The other large chunk is that the lead singer is the voice of Chuck E. Cheese now, which is
Wait, what?
great fun.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. I think it's great fun. I'm having a good time.
I saw a really good tweet today. It was a picture of Chuck E. Cheese, and it was like, "Come on down to Mechanical Rat Pizza and Child Casino."
That's right. My older sister, younger brother, and sister-in-law have all been employed by Charles E. Cheese, the Charles E. Cheese Empire. So,
and let me tell a quick story about
sure.
Probably this should have been one of the top 10 in our episode 200 4 Under Par extravaganza. One of my favorite memories of you coming to a show, I think, was at Ford Hall in downtown Erie, PA. And, just kind of like playing on the stories about how you were you didn't work hard at your instrument, and showing up to shows maybe sometimes was an afterthought. But one time you did show up, and you said that you lost the one guitar pick that you owned. So you took your sister's Chuck E. Cheese badge, cut it into a triangle, and played a show with a Chuck E. Cheese badge as your guitar pick.
Yes, I don't know how I feel about the slander about coming to shows being an afterthought. It was always legitimate high school era conflicts. Whenever I could come, I was there for sure. But I believe that. I don't know if I remember that specific thing.
Really?
It's always kind of weird when people are like, "Hey, remember that thing?" And I'm like, "Nope, I don't." And that's happened to me very often in my life. But I believe that there would be, based on the information we have at hand, which is more than one of my siblings was employed there, there'd be plenty of Chuck E. Cheese ID cards lying around the house for that to have taken place. So, yeah, I believe it. And it would not have hindered or improved my shitty bass playing. So,
well, anyways.
That's right. Bowling for Soup is a band we should have talked about probably by now. I remember after hearing this song and going nuts, the next Christmas, I got 2 CDs. One of them was A Hangover You Don't Deserve, and the other was Let's Do It for Johnny. Oddly, it was not Drunk Enough to Dance, which was the album that features this song, but I was still very thrilled. And, Two-Seater is a pretty good one on their, earlier stuff. And then, of course, 1985 and Almost and Trucker Hat and all that stuff was on A Hangover You Don't Deserve, which probably deserves an episode sometime later down the road. But, fun band. And I'm excited to kind of get more in. You said you have a distinct memory, I think, before we get into maybe some fast/fun facts. You recall the first time you heard this, like, flat out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we kind of talk about how songs or bands like became meaningful to us because a crush of ours was into it or something. And I have this like crazy memory of 2002 would have been 6th or 7th grade for us. What would it have been? I think 6th maybe. And there was a 7th grader, a Sevy, as they were called in our Catholic school. Her name was Kristen.
Timeout.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they called them Sevys. Yeah.
What do they call everything else in the English language?
They didn't call it.
Or just 8th or 6th. What did they have? Was that it? Sevy was just Sevy.
Yeah, so actually, this is the worst podcast conversation. So my sister, her class was, I guess, the one that coined the term Sevys, and she was all upset that, like, when the 7th graders became 8th graders, they started calling us Sevys, and they're like, "Hey, that's our word," and just like things that don't matter to anyone are so important to you in 8th grade. But anyway, yes, this girl Kristen, a huge crush of mine, was a Sevy. I was in 6th grade.
Whoa.
And I don't know why I would have been here, but I have this distinct memory of walking across the blacktop to the field behind St. James School. And Kristen was going to soccer practice. I don't know why we would have been walking next to each other. like her mom gave me rides home from school sometimes. Like we were in the same social circle, right? But we never like hung out. And she was like, hey, Thomas is what they called me back then. I have soccer practice. Do you want my CD player? You can listen to the mixtape I made on it. So she's at soccer practice.
Made for you, or just when she made and you're allowed in?
She made one for herself. Yes, exactly. She made it for herself, and she let me borrow it. And I don't know why I would have been there at this time, but it felt like she just like let me into her world. Like, hey, listen to this mix CD I made for myself. It felt so intimate and personal. I was like, oh my God, she loves me too. But I only remember 2 songs on it. I remember Get Busy, whatever, Shake That Thing by Sean Paul. And
awesome.
Right? And Girl All the Bad Guys Want. And first of all, I remember
awesome. That's the best mix ever. I was just driving recently, on the radio came a Sia song, and it's the one where Sean Paul features like this many years later. Good for Sean Paul, by the way. And he's just like, more than diamonds, more than gold. And I'm like, damn, he's just doing the damn thing years later. Good for Sean Paul. Want to be the papa, want to be the mom. Very into this mixtape. I would love to know what's on the rest of it, but sorry for derailing your story.
No, I remember being like young, naive, my sexual world is opening in this grade, right? And I just hear shake that ting, and I was like, oh my God, does Kristen like to shake that thing?
Interesting. Yeah, at the risk of sounding like that other Tom Hanks son, we should probably stop trying to imitate Sean Paul, but I could see the world being opened by access to this. Because I imagine some of these songs would have ended up are in your world and that you listen to. So I imagine you're like, okay, I could relate. Music is my thing. I don't know if it's like the minute you decided that or anything, but
anyways, Girl All the Bad Guys Want was on it, and I thought it was so cool that she listened to like this type of music, because I was probably just leaning into Simple Plan and Good Charlotte at the time, and it was like I felt like it was this connection that we had where we both liked this like pop rock, pop punk, and there's this part of me like that romanticized her giving me the mix CD. Like, we are the only 2 people that are in on this thing. We are bound together by this mix CD. I feel like she just like opened her heart, let me into her world, and it meant weirdly so much as a 6th grader to have that experience with this girl I thought was pretty.
There you go.
So
middle school.
Yeah.
At St. James Catholic Middle School in Erie, Pennsylvania. Very nice. I like
Not
that.
Not just a middle school, a K through 8.
Mine was less, I guess, fun of a memory. I remember, I think I was listening to one of the CDs, one of the 3, because I eventually had 3 of them. And Brendan, Zach's older brother, was riding up on a bike, and he's like, what are you listening to? And he snatched my headphones and put them on. And he called them, I guess at this point, like he just said lamer or dumber, basically, but said a different word. But, why are you listening to a lamer Simple Plan? And it was, I don't know if it was like A Hangover You Don't Deserve, one of the middle tracks or something. And I was so shook. Because Brendan was built like, I don't know, like He-Man. Just like, I'm trying to think of something that was accurate, not an over-exaggeration. But B, it was like, oh my God, do my musical tastes suck? But I knew they didn't. I knew I loved Bowling for Soup, but that shook me. That was less of a, I didn't, there was no, that was a different situation wholeheartedly, but I was still digging Bowling for Soup through the headphones. I was shook for a minute, but had to stay true.
I remember, that was like nauseatingly scary when someone questioned, like I remember when someone's like, oh, Good Charlotte. I was like, what? You don't love Good Charlotte as much as I do? And when I found out Good Charlotte was Posers, I was like, no, there's no.
I think we've told the story in the show about someone asking me what Poser meant as a kid. And I just assumed it was X-rated. And they were like, no, it's just, what? No, it's not that. It's it's just like someone who's less punk than you would think. I'm like, oh yeah, wait, what? You framed the question weirdly, Derek. I think you framed it. Before we get into the fast facts, thoughts on them being deemed by Zach's brother on a whim, on moving on a bike. We're moving probably 10, 15 mph. On them being deemed a lamer, dumber, whatever, or Simple Plan. I don't know if that came out of left field in my book, and I'm curious your thoughts real quick before we get to the other stuff.
Well, people thought Simple Plan was already so lame that would have been devastating.
It was a crushing blow. I got to say. Anyway, I don't think it's accurate, and I don't want to give it any more thought, even though it'll haunt me forever until my deathbed. Okay. They were nominated in 2003 for a Grammy Award, Best Pop Performance by a Group or Duo. I guess it's not pop. It's definitely catchy enough, but I guess I'd label them as at least a 2000s era punk band. I don't know, but hey, pop is, I don't know. What do you think about that particular award snagging on their part?
That is pretty wild to me. Not to say they're not deserving of a Grammy, but it's surprising that any band that I like would be nominated for one. I don't know.
Interesting.
Good for them.
Did Simple Plan ever get nominated for Pop Awards? Maybe Brendan was right. I don't know. Maybe I just misheard him and he was like, hey, this is a poppier Simple Plan, and he was being very supportive. Who's to say? But anyway, I think it probably speaks Grammy noticingness in order that, it was huge. The song reached number 8 on the UK singles chart, number 15 in Ireland, and number 64 on the US Billboard Hot 100. Not to steal your line.
Guess who they lost the Grammy to?
Madonna.
No Doubt, Underneath It All.
Ooh, good one to lose to. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Devastating song. No, not devastating. Fun, good, lovey song. But some of those No Doubt, late career No Doubt stuff is like, rips your heart out. Yeah, Underneath It All is a good tune. I'm okay with that, actually. That sounds like a delightful year at the Grammys. Just kidding. Every year at the Grammys is not great.
Wait. They won 2003 with Hey Baby. They won 2004 with Underneath It All. So No Doubt 2 years in a row. So maybe they lost to Hey Baby, which good
That's
song.
Less. Now that you clarify it, that sits worse in my tummy. Didn't love that one, but hey, hey, No Doubt was red hot for like a while, so they were doing what they were doing. This particular album was included at number 32 on Rock Sound's the 51 most essential pop punk albums of all time list.
Whoa.
BuzzFeed included the album at number 28 on their 36 pop punk albums you need to hear before you effing die. Looks like they bleeped out their own headline, and I'm stealing all your notes. I'm so sorry, Tom. Anyway, needless to say, getting some after the fact love from millennial writers that grew up, ?
Okay, so this is just me. Back in the day, I wasn't much of an album listener, I guess, because I had LimeWire. I only got singles. I guess I'm surprised to hear that Bowling for Soup is such a popular album band, because I only know like 3 songs of theirs, which is horrible, but good for them. I mean,
I think A Hangover You Don't Deserve with Trucker Hat, and I mean Almost in 1985. I think your standard listener to this show, tweet at us at _reminiscentfm, would have been familiar with at least the song Almost and knew it was track 1 on A Hangover You Don't Deserve.
I forgot about that song.
Yeah, like a nice little fun, poppy wordplay rock song. You get to track like 14 on that album, which was very deep. And I guess we're not talking about that album or that's those songs today. But, you start to get like, okay, I kind of get the shtick. The lead singer has gone on lead singer syndrome and talked about how he mostly just wanted to make people laugh and be an entertainer. And, there was never like, no, I guess, Axl Rose, Guns N' Roses /y danger feel to this band at any given point in time. Obviously, they're having fun, but also it comes out and the music is fun as well. I don't think there's any problem with any of that. But yeah, I enjoyed their albums. I think there's definitely a time and a place to have some fun with Bowling for Soup. I don't think, well, I guess we'll just ask the question we ask every week. Is it windows up or windows down at the stoplight? Specifically this song.
I feel like, I think for me personally, it would be windows down, but I would be a little self-conscious only because of people like Brendan who totally, they only saw them as this like goofy pop entertainment rather than like real music.
I'm going to say this and 1985 are windows down as well. And this one maybe more so because it's, I guess, quote unquote, edgier. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, a timeless bop in my, I fucking love this song. I don't know why I'm like being so sheepish. I love Bowling for Soup. This song is freaking incredible. I can't wait to talk about the music video because we haven't even asked the most important question yet, Tom. Did Bowling for Soup kill nu metal? Single-handedly. The biting satire of this music video needs to be reckoned with and talked about, and we'll get there.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, I think that's a question we've been putting this episode off. It wasn't as daunting as the Baha Men stuff or any of the episodes we've been scared to do that we've mentioned on the show. But after watching it and after going through like our new metal phase on the show, we were like, I don't know if we want to even try to answer that question yet. We're not ready to like, we're not ready for that quest. But they go in pretty devastatingly on some of those bands, and we'll get to that later. But a quick note on the songwriting that this band has done throughout their career. Song, apparently co-written with Butch Walker, formerly of Marvelous 3, who has also written songs for Avril Lavigne and SR71. In a past interview, I think Jarrett Reddick is the official name. I don't know if it's Jarrett or Jarrett. I think it's Jarrett Reddick. Says, "Girl All the Bad Guys Want" was my first co-write ever. So on Wikipedia, it says that Butch Walker wrote it, but in the interview quote, he says, my first co-write, and me and Butch sat in a room and literally wrote that song in 30 minutes. I mean, it was done. And then we turned around and almost did that same thing with Almost and When We Die. Both those songs were written in one evening over the span of about 2 hours, and those two songs came later, of course. It should be noted as well that similar to, not similar to, but kind of similar to, I don't know, some of the songs that we've joked about on the show, like Year 3000 by the Jonas Brothers, but 1985 was not written by the band either. But I think it was one of those situations where the label was like, hey, if you don't need this, I think Bowling for Soup could just crush this. So their biggest songs were never like singularly written by, I don't know, the music industry, people write stuff and people perform stuff and things get famous and covers are good or bad. They're not the only band to ever do this, but any thoughts on them? I don't know. Does that take away anything for you? There was some songwriting help on some of their biggest hits, or yes, no, maybe so?
Well, first of all, I'm reading about Butch Walker right now. He's done Taylor Swift, The Academy Is, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco.
Fall Out Boy, Panic. Oh, no. You know what? That's good context because we almost without that bit of research would have, I would have stuck up for Bowling for Soup, but I think we were almost headed down a dangerous path of just slamming them for not getting help from Butch Walker, which apparently every band we talk about on the show does. That's a crazy lineup of Butch Walker help. Good for Butch Walker. Should we do an episode on Butch Walker?
All American Rejects, Say Oh Soon, Never Shout Never, Weezer, Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, Green Day, Katy Perry, Midtown, American Hi-Fi, Hot Hot Heat.
Wow. Good for you, Butch Walker. F*** you, but good for you. Interesting. Murderer's Row. So Butch Walker might be one of those songwriter-producer names that we have to just become familiar with. Yeah. It's crazy that we're just now bumping into him in this way. Totally. Okay, I take it all back. It was to be expected. And it was a banger, like I said. Okay, one last thing before the music video. We talk a lot about kind of like themes. I think this is the most emo theme that we come across, or the most true to the genre. We talk about boy in point A, girl in point B stuff, but in this song, in Girl All the Bad Guys Want, boy A pines over girl A, who is with boy B currently. I don't know if the Girl All the Bad Guys Want is with a bad guy, but all the bad guys are not our narrator, of course. So I think the famous example of that, Teenage Dirtbag, just pining over the girl, I think that's kind of the main thesis statement of the whole thing
Doom
we do here on the show.
Yeah, totally.
yeah. So anyway, it's just interesting. It's kind of like classic trope, I guess. I just wondered if you had any quick thoughts on that. Like, you've quote on the show said, I want songs that make me want to jump off a cliff. Is this a level of pining that you're comfortable with, that you were drawn to?
It's interesting that I've definitely had that emotion throughout a lot of my life of being interested in a girl that doesn't care for me or my style, or many girls of one style that don't like me or my style. Interestingly enough, I've never really gone like the bad girl route.
At the time, did you even know what that would have looked like or meant?
Because
I will say I definitely didn't, because I just applied it immediately to the crush I had at the time, who objectively I can look back and say, I didn't go to school with a single bad girl as described by the song. I think it's fair to say. But it's like, wow, another song written about me. How insane. And we'll get into the
Yeah, I
lyrics
mean,
later,
that's-
but definitely not a lifestyle any of us were probably familiar with.
No, I mean, I applied it to my crushes as well. For example, that girl that introduced me to the song by giving me her Walkman. She was not a girl that bad guys would have wanted. I had no context of what that could possibly be.
Also, you were probably the bad guy at St. James. Everyone else was like very clean-cut golf playing, prepsters who were very heart of gold kind. I've met a lot of them. They one of them even like came to a VFW show of ours and picked up the bill for like a couple of soft pretzels. Yeah, I think we got someone who's like, hey, you're about to go on, and we forgot, or I say we, I don't want to bring you in on this, but I think it was like a $2 pretzel. He's like, no, I got it, man. It's cool. I'm like, wow. He was so handsome, you want to hate him, but it's like just showing up to the show, being very supportive and like buying us food also. It's like, dang, I'm the bad guy.
Duh, do, 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 do. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, definitely sorry to everyone for everything moment. Tina Fey, I quote the Tina Fey Bossy Pants line a lot where it's like, remember when I was the protagonist? No? Anyways.
Hey everyone, I hope you are enjoying this episode and you're having as much fun listening to it as we had recording it. I want to quickly thank our Council of Elders, our top tier Patreon supporters. In that group, we have Andre Prevost, Johnny Leftwich, Jason Carey, and Chris Lukey. Guys, thank you so much for joining our Emo Elder tier on Patreon. You are paying the bills for this show, and it certainly means a lot. I also want to thank everyone else in our Patreon who is helping to contribute. It really means a lot to have you there. And if you would be interested in joining the group and supporting the show, you can head over to patreon.com/reminiscent to see the different tiers we have, what we offer, post shows, behind the scenes videos and photos, monthly AMAs, all kinds of benefits. You can check it out there. Thank you all so much, and back to the show.
Okay, so the video.
Yeah,
we see. Yes, here we are. We're about to answer the question about whether or not. Well, two questions: are we the bad guy? And did Bowling for Soup kill nu metal? Did Bowling for Soup kill nu metal? We're going on an adventure. Strap in. It's going to be blazing. Okay. There's a woman on the sidewalk. It's another one of the videos we talk about In Too Deep by Sum 41 all the time, where there's a song playing as somebody rolls up to something. I think it's the song off of one of their earlier albums. Is this still a power move now that we see it in so many videos? I used to think it was a power move, but now it just seems to be like a common, like, hey, maybe you're interested in some of our earlier stuff if you listen to 5 seconds of it or so.
I think it's crazy good advertising. I feel like I don't see it that much. It's still a power move. Yeah, totally.
Cool. Into it. I love the positivity because that's what this episode deserves. So she bends over to look at, I guess this is a TV shop that's tuned into, either they cut into broadcasting or it's on TV or something like that. You see the group and you see the notoriously larger gentleman who plays guitar for Bowling for Soup wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey. And I have to ask you this question right off the jump here, right off the top. Is there a band more from Texas than Bowling for Soup is from Texas?
I don't know, man. I didn't know they were from Texas.
Not a good start, not a good sign, but I'm going to say yes. Or no, there is not. They are the most, Denton County will be right here waiting for you. Come back to Texas. It's just not the same state you went away type vibe. Anyway, that came later. Yeah, but rocking the Cowboys jersey early on. They're pretty from Texas. Tweet at _medicine FM. I know we have some followers from the Dallas area. Maybe you have some stories. It seems like people just from Texas loosely know like one of these people's aunts and stuff. They're like, yeah, they live in Denton. They're great. Good people. I don't know. Texas is just one giant neighborhood. It's hard to say. I haven't spent a ton of time there. Anyway, let's get to one of the first, they're playing, she's watching, they're putting on a show. She's intrigued by the music. And you ran into a lyric pretty quick that you have some questions about.
Yeah, man. Again, not really knowing what kind of girl bad guys would like, your mind just starts filling in these blanks. And one of the earlier lines that actually has spurred a lot of controversy and a lot of interviews and articles, she wears a two-way, but I'm not quite sure what that means. And did you have any thoughts about that as a child?
At the time, no. I guess because there are worse lyrics about I guess just to come out with it, climaxing like a few words later. And even then I was like, that was just from a like, I guess an anatomy standpoint, I was way below the curve on a ton of it. My wife claims it's a pager and it's nothing to get excited about, but they're painting a picture that suggests and using phrases and words and, describing things that are making the listener, even at a young age, think that two-way is definitely not just like, yeah, she wears a pager on her belt like a 40-year-old middle-aged man.
Well, and that's what's so funny is I was so focused on this line that I missed creaming over tough guys, which is probably the grossest thing. Like,
yes, like listening to rap metal turntables in her eyes. They are painting a hell of a picture here. This is, it's, I don't know. It's like an author in a book just going way over the top to describe what a character looks like. And he swept into the room with, a furrowed brow. It's like, did we need there's a lot of details about the girl all the bad guys want, although the song's about her. So I guess we can't be too upset. Yeah, plenty of the chorus that I didn't understand a ton of at the time.
The legend that I heard was two-way meant a double dong, right?
A double what?
I don't like going down this like.
Did you miss
this path?
You say that once more?
A two-way dildo is what someone told me this was about. I Googled it. Like, okay, over the past 15 years, it's been clarified it's a pager. But when I Googled it, there were like forums of people was like, no, it's a two-sided thong. I'm like, what is a two-sided thong? Like, it's underwear. And then there's an interview with the singer and he's like, no, it's a pager.
Okay. Wow.
All kinds of stuff though.
There's a lot. I think, does this band deserve more credit for this song for just A, killing nu metal, which we'll talk about in a bit, and B, teaching us a lot more than our public school health class might have about both communication technology at the time, but also, anyway, you're right. Yeah, it's like, that was definitely not the worst part. They go way grosser immediately afterwards.
So this chorus was just full of of confusion. I also remember on the playground, people legitimately like yelling over the line, she's looking through me, because there was like a group, you were either on like team A or team B. A lot of people, before you could just Google it on the internet, thought it was saying she's looking groovy. And I remember being like, why would a girl that bad guys want look groovy? Like that's a different genre of person, I feel like. So this chorus was just all kinds of stuff going on there. Anyways,
maybe we get some genius lyrics before the end of the show to help us through this winding road. But yeah, this girl's a badass, and he's in over his head, but he's very, very into her, but not the usual crowd that he's not her usual type, it doesn't seem. But then it's not just a girl looking through a window at guys on TVs. We have our first cutaway. And this spoof is from the music video for Stained. It's been a while. Since I could. It's interesting. We made these notes for this episode before the Eve 6 guy got on Twitter and started just ripping people. And I think he laid into Stained a bit. So adding, I guess, some context. I don't know. Anyway, Jarrett is here, Mr. Reddick, in a bald cap, black tee, walking in a room similar to the Stained It's Been a While music video, smoking a cig, takes out some pictures on the couch. He has an eyebrow ring, definitely committing to his credit. And then he's just kind of hanging out in the room, and we head into verse 2, full band again. Eventually, he's in character still while the band's playing, and he's bent over and he looks very emotional, similar to the It's Been a While video. Before we come to the reveal, there's another line that I wonder if you noticed a lot that I did. Quote, she likes the Godsmack, and I like Agent Orange. Her CD changer's full of singers that are mad at their dad. Have you ever Googled Agent Orange because of this line?
No.
I have, and I realized every time I try to learn more about myself, I'm disappointed because I'm like, I can't hang with Agent Orange. I'm a bit of a poser, and bit of is being too kind. And, little stank on singers that are mad at their dad. Their dad. Their dad. Anyway, okay. She said she liked to score some reefer in a 40. Some censor stuff here has left us confused over the years, it sounds like.
Yeah. So they censor reefer with like a deep-pitched record scratch, right? And it sounds like he says, score some roofie in a 40. And it sounds like roofie instead of reefer, which is so much worse than reefer.
Yeah.
Like, how did they hear that and be like, no, this is
just
better.
Joining us, Tom's a big cannabis advocate here on the show. And this is important. These types of things are very important to him.
Yep. 420.
There's a reveal coming, but I have I tried to come up with a rhyme like I couldn't. So Edge, I take the pledge. I don't know. But I end up looking like the fool for even trying that hard. So my bad. Okay. Quick question before the big reveal. And we start to get real goofy in this. Cowboys overweight, heftier gentleman who's a very good guitar player, playing thumb over the top of the fretboard for some of this, just having a good time kind of rocking back and forth. The band seems to have a blast doing what they do. Cutting, you think back to Reddick saying things like, I want to be an entertainer. I mostly just want to make people laugh, bring people joy. Some of their lyrics, some of their songs throughout their career, silly, fun. Thoughts on the guitarist seemingly just having the time of his life with playing, pressing his thumb over top of the fretboard and playing from the top.
I think this is different, but I think Taylor Swift does that too, like on a G chord, rather than using the middle finger, she wraps the thumb around. I can't get myself to do that no matter what I do. It's wild to me, but it seems like maybe they're playing drop D and he's just playing with his thumb. It's like it's like a lesser version of when you're shredding and you put your hand over the top of it. He's just using the thumb. He does it multiple times. I don't know if you caught it at the end as well. He's just having a good fucking time, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I love it.
Just one of those, like, you listen to interviews with Brendan Urie, or even just some pop punk singers, and they say most of the stuff you pick up at Warped Tour and stuff from other bands, you just get parlor tricks that can make either your voice or your playing better. This seems like one of those things that when they were perhaps in the Denton area, did I mention they're from Texas? Just picking up, playing at bars and stuff. I don't know. It's just a fun little I don't know, whatever. Very here for it. Very fun.
It's like twirling a drumstick in your finger every now and then, maybe.
A little showmanship.
It's nice.
Why hate on some showmanship? We're keeping it insanely positive today for Bowling for Soup, and I am just thrilled about it. I was very excited to keep the momentum of the new year going with these fine folks from Texas. The Lone Star State. Okay. Chorus 2, when she walks, so the wind blows and the angels sing. But okay, so smoking on a cig in character as the Stain guy, Reddick, chokes, drops the cigarette. It falls on the pictures he was looking at on the floor in that living room scene.
And they're all his dog.
Yes, everything lights on fire. And it's revealed that he's not writing lyrics on the coffee table while he's strumming the guitar and stuff. He was just playing tic-tac-toe and he loses to himself. And he just has this look on his face where he's just like, oh, sure, no. And he's just like, so we were like, oh my God, he's going there. And at this point in the video, when you see it for the first time, you don't know who all he's going to make fun of over the next like minute and a half. But just, you think he's going to stop there, but he's not. They cut to where he's as the Stain guy with the full band. And they zoom out from the close-up shot of him bent over, like the way the Stained lead singer looks in his video.
Exactly how he's doing it in the video, in the real one.
So well done. But he's just on a toilet pooping and has been the whole time, you realize. Just dropping big old dumpers right in the middle of the music video. And he does that, oh, no, like, he rubs his face and does that look again. At this point, give me the Phineas and Ferb, give me the Chuck E. Cheese. This man's body of work speaks for itself. Very fun, very entertaining. And he's not done there, Tom. He's not done there. Although I will say this, and I don't know if you agree, Stain seems to get the brunt of it, I would have to say.
Right.
And according to Eve 6, deservedly so. Question mark. It's hard to say. Soft bridge. Here we go. Okay. Reddick tries to put the fire out of the cig. Anyway, he's pooping and he sings the line that, one of the lines that makes us kind of feel justified in wondering if Two-Way was sexual in nature, but quote, all I wanted was to see her naked during the slow, soft bridge. Kind of, not all-time low horny, but kind of a horny song. Soft bridge, now he's singing like he's changed himself to pursue the girl the bad guys want. Now I'm watching wrestling, quote. Quick side note, one of their weirder, most recent hits, now that they're older guys, they wrote a song about a female professional wrestler named Alexa Bliss.
Bliss.
That's legit the name of the song. I'm not up on professional wrestling enough.
And she's in the music video.
Hey, there you go. Sounds like a fun, maybe she's from Texas too. I can't say I know enough about her career, but yeah. So now he literally is watching wrestling. He must have been watching wrestling the whole time. Anyway, he's changed himself. And now sorry if I'm, bogarting this whole thing, but in the video, one of the band members is just in the background peeing against the wall while he's pooping also as the stain guy. It's starting to get a little wild.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I just Googled Alexa Bliss, married to Ryan Cabrera.
Good for them, I guess.
And they're from Dallas, or he's from Dallas anyway. I don't know. Anyway,
I think it's our Patreon supporter Melissa who pointed out on Twitter that a lot of the Dallas acts have actually, there's a Texas friendliness, I guess, which is real. I think she mentioned once that the Rocket Summer guy, Bryce, shouted us out, and I think some of our Texas listeners have shouted out the friendly nature of those from the Dallas area. So, hey, I hope Alexa Bliss and Jarrett Reddick and the whole gang are playing guitars with their thumbs over the top of the fretboard, just having a good time, because it's hard not to feel, again, insanely positive about everything going on here, except for maybe some of the lyrics, which were, strange for a teen to hear for the first time, I guess. But yeah, people are just peeing around the studio at this point. All I got's a moped. And then we cut to spoof number 2. And guess who he is, Tom? Or you don't have to guess, you can read it. He's going full in. This is where we really start to you tell me what aspect of nu metal survived this next spoof.
It's just one of those days.
It's just one of those days.
Fred f***ing Durst. You can't miss the red hat, man. You
can't miss it. Pretty clear, although which speaks to Durst's brand at the time, because even now it's like, Nookie and whatnot. I know what that's supposed to be. Black armband, red backwards cap, white t-shirt, stuff's again, like I said, going off the rails. Now other band members are showing up and dancing, wearing soul patches and red, backwards caps. In kind of there's a third spoof that I guess we'll get into this now, if you don't mind, I suppose. In the chaos, individuals with clown masks and jumpsuits show up, making it seem like Slipknot is ready to come beat Fred Durst with broken beer bottles. They do and begin to stomp the shit out of him. I looked this up. I'm not super familiar with nu metal beefs, but this is per Kerrang! ! And I'm just going to read from their article on the matter. This is how it went. Fred referred to Slipknot fans as a, quote, bunch of fat, ugly kids, end quote. And Slipknot's Corey Taylor responded by threatening Fred's life on stage in New York in 99. Fred, said Corey, you may have a lot of money and be all over the world, but when you talk shit about Slipknot and our fans, we will kill you, end quote. When asked about the feud on a TV show, Corey also screamed, we will come there and we will kill you, through the television to Fred Durst. The Limp Bizkit troublemaker, nice Kerrang!, lived to tell the tale and hopefully learned it's best not to pick fights with 9 people when there's only one of you. I think speaking to the size of the masked crusaders there in Slipknot. I thought Googling nu metal band that wore clown masks and jumpsuit would be more helpful, but I was like 5 keywords short on, getting that search down to finally figuring out it was Slipknot in the music video. It ended up being a much more difficult search than I anticipated. Getting pretty fart punky at this point in time. Slipknot's beating up all the Fred Dursts in the video. There's a guy in his underwear kind of humping amps and stuff. It's officially off the rails. It's definitely not like, I'm not sure if we even see another shot of a stained guy in the toilet, but what statement made, I guess? I don't know. Thoughts, Tom, on their searing, their biting satire here?
So if I saw this when I was 11, when this song came out, I wouldn't have gotten any of the references, but I watched this music video before then watching the ones it was parodying, and I can't believe how true they were to the video, to the original, but only changing one thing. Like he's looking at the photos, and rather than it being the girl, it's just a white poodle. And like he's writing down the lyrics, and it shows up for like 20 seconds, and then he's just playing tic-tac-toe.
When he beats himself in tic-tac-toe, that is the funniest. Like, it still gets me because he makes the same face after he's taken a dookie. He's just like, oh no. Like he's just so overcome and confused and wants to sing about, I guess, singers, wants to be mad at a singer who's mad at his dad, I suppose. But yeah, I think, I guess let's answer the question now. Did they kill nu metal?
Without a doubt, man. It was definitely downhill from there.
Club horn, man. Wow. Definitive answer. I like it. I'll ask a quick follow-up. Do we have to credit Marshall Slim Shady Mathers with this style of music video that pretty directly just like goes in on somebody? It was kind of an era of spoofing or riffing on the music industry as a whole. Does he deserve any credit in this type of takedown spoof humor popular at the time? Or are we allowed to give Bowling for Soup their moment in the sun here?
I'll give it to them, man. They deserve it. It's fun. It's so, it's like so brutal while still being so lighthearted. I kind of can't believe they pulled it off.
Yeah.
I love them even more for it. I need to.
Not again. Oh no. Man.
I really want to listen to their album, like full albums now, because I never have.
Oh, I'm so f***ed up, man. Oh, man. Man, I'm in bad shape, man. Oh, no. Anyway, okay. Enough of that. The song ends, the girl stops looking at the TVs and just walks away. That's, I think, pretty much how it ends, right?
Yeah, and what's interesting is like she's so into them while they're playing, and the second they stop playing, she loses interest and walks away. Like dead face, leaves. And I don't know if they're trying to play into this thing where like they were only like fun and sexy while they were playing. Like, you know, that whole adage of like, oh, just playing a guitar makes an ugly guy cute. I don't know if they were intentionally playing into that, but that's kind of the vibe I got.
I think she, and you've mentioned this, I think, sharply on the show before, that a lot of these things are music videos, almost all of them, almost literally all of them, except maybe a few very weird Panic at the Disco ones and a couple theatrical Fall Out Boy ones, and probably more. Anyway, a lot of them, it's a performance that someone's seeing, whether it's Avril Lavigne in the street, kids rushing through traffic on skateboards. You know, you're kind of like defining the audience. This is the type of punk girl that can be expected, similar to, I guess, the girl that you went to middle school with, that's expected to enjoy this band, be like, hey, this is a rock band that's accessible not only to the guys wondering what two-way means, but also the girl who would be wearing those types of, like, I guess, quote, alt clothes, walking down the street, ready to take in a music video like that. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm just stealing your take that most music videos are just like helping the listener know what the audience is supposed to be in the eyes of, I guess, quote, the man or whatever, right?
Defining the avatar, they call that.
Whoa, interesting. Well, they defined it. I don't think I guess, back to your original question. I'm so sorry. I went on too long without making a real point. I don't think she is shallow. I think she's just that type. A gal walking down the sidewalk, taking in some music, and then she goes on her merry way. She's like, well, that was nice. Okay, bye.
Okay,
she can't date the TV. So
right.
She just carries on. I don't know. With her, like, plaid pants, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's a side question. You ever own plaid pants?
Actually, oh my God.
Because plaid shorts were huge in like 2006, I feel like.
Dude, in my closet right now, I have the DVD we made for our AP World History class, the circumnavigation video. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And I had, my only line was me running through this field as I think you and Cameron were on a swing set, and I yelled, dude, I got $5. And that was our funds to navigate the world, circumnavigate the world. I was wearing these green plaid pants. And I remember it was the first time I had ever worn them. And I was so self-conscious because I didn't think I was the kind of guy that could pull off green plaid shorts.
I think everyone tried to be the guy that could pull off plaid shorts, and it's okay. It's kind of like everyone I think everyone had that 2-year period where they wore boxers and plaid shorts, and then it was gone as quickly as it came. And it was so mysterious. I hadn't thought about that in years until just now, actually. So yeah, plaid pants, plaid shorts, a relic of the era, perhaps, or many eras. I'm sure it's obviously not just that moment in time. But the shorts definitely were. The shorts felt like Brad McShane, Noah Wolf, and Spencer Cadden would have just been walking through Westerville all wearing different patterns of plaid shorts. I don't know if it's like an Old Navy thing at the height of Old Navy or something. It's hard to say. Please tweet at us with your plaid short memories. Or don't. We don't have to do that at all, actually. So, okay. I think that's the long and short of it. I really think this song, I say it every week, apologies to everyone for everything, but this is probably in my top 50, if not my top 25 favorite songs of all time. It's so good. When the wind blows and the angels sing, they go from angelic to really dirty, nasty, oddly horny teen rock pop. It's fun. The music video is fun and silly and defeats nu metal, which is a pretty insane feat to go along with the 2003 Grammy Award winner for best pop performance. Nu metal, man. You know, there's that Tenacious D song, you can't destroy the metal, but you can seemingly destroy the nu metal. And all it takes is the 2003 pop performance by a group or duo winner, Bowling for Soup, out of the great city of Denton, Texas, the great county of Denton County. Texas defeated nu metal. I think they'd want us to say it like that. I don't have a ton else. If you do not, this band's great. And I would love to talk about them more later. Cause I feel like sometimes we'll talk about a band we've never talked about before. And it opens up different like synapses in our brain where we're like, oh yeah. Plaid shorts. Was that door worth it? I don't know but we found it. And that's the important part, I think.
Right. Yeah, man, we got to get to more of them. They definitely deserve it. I'm glad we finally got to it. We've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, the 1985 video is, I think we all know there's stuff to talk about. So
yeah.
I feel like this was an episode where sometimes you say this, you're like, I feel like I talked through that whole one. And this is one where I'm not sure I let you get a word. And I'm sorry. I was just very excited.
That's all good, man. Yeah. Let's give our song of the week and head over to the Patreon post show.
Yeah, I think we can handle that. Let me take a look. I know I wrote one down. Give me Care by beabadoobee.
What?
A coworker of mine heard me listening to the Charlie Bliss at work, and she said, you might like this band my daughter likes, which is beabadoobee, Beabadoobee. The song is called Care. And she was right. It was great. It was smooth. It was cool. It was like track one on an album that, Apple Music says came out this year. So I was like, okay, sure. Beabadoobee. Very into it. And it was smooth and fun. And check it out. Yeah, that's my song.
It sounds like they would open for the Wiggles or something.
It does.
Beabadoobee.
You know what's yummy, Tom? Fruit salad's yummy. So we are a pro fruit salad in its level of yumminess show, in case anybody was confused about that. And if you disagree, you can see yourself the out of here. The door's over there. Okay. So that was an unnecessary bleep. That was the most unnecessary edit I've made you do in a while. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. But the long anticipated album Art by the Dirty Nil came out New Year's Day.
Yes.
The third song, Elvis 77. First of all, what a run of killer songs. Doom Boy, Blunt Force Concussion, Elvis 77, Done with Drugs. I'm really I love choruses that just have one line and they say it over and over and over. And that's mostly what this 2-minute song is. I dig it. I cannot get enough of it.
What's there not to dig, man? I mean, obviously, Fruit Salad by the Wiggles is a bop. But we've talked about Doom Boy for months. Ever since Tom drove and moved, we've been into the Dirty Nil for more than a hot minute at this point.
Can't get enough.
Just hardworking boys, bunch of good hardworking young gents from Arizona / Canada for real. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. Good pick. Let's just pick the rest of that album. The more we learn more and learn how to love it, learn more, not learn how, just take it in. So, let Tom be your Doom Boy and smash that subscribe button. Let's just end the show. It's over. Love you, everybody. Love you, Tom. Talk to you next week.
Love you too, man. See ya. All right, everybody, thank you for listening to this week's episode. You can find the show notes at our website, reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/205. And please hit us up on Twitter at _reminiscentfm. Let us know the first time you remember hearing this song. Was it on your crush's CD player? Or like Pat, did you just forget entirely? Let us know. We'll talk to you all next week. Please stay safe out there. We love you. Bye, everyone.